Hello, Geminis, and welcome to your July 2026 monthly horoscope. My name is Justina. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. All right, so here I follow Western astrology tropical zodiac, and these horoscopes are most accurate for your rising sign, also called the ascendant sign. However, you can also watch them for your moon sign or your sun sign if you wish just to get a bigger picture and a wider perspective upon your life. All right, so here we started a really busy month. This month, we've got a few retrogrades starting, and we also have the nodes shifting into brand new signs. We started this cycle a while back in February with the very first eclipse in Aquarius of this new cycle, and we will continue until 2028. All right, so first of all, we start with Neptune. Neptune will turn retrograde at 4 degrees of Aries in your 11th house. So that's your friendships, groups you belong to, your social circle. Now, with Neptune will stay here for over a decade. So the people that you associate with, that you align with, you'll go through a shift here. Without a doubt, this is just the beginning. This year, Neptune will reach the 4th degree of Aries, but it will move, well, at this point, its station is retrograde, but as the years go by, it will go further and further. So here, when Neptune is in a direct motion, it tends to make us see things through rose-tinted glasses. It brings confusion and delusion very often. A certain degree of lack of clarity for you. This is your friendships that is influenced, this area is influenced for you, your friendships, your social circle, people in your life, your any group associations, your sense of belonging. Of course, you've got Saturn here as well as of mid-February 2026 for 2 years. So this influence of Neptune is slightly different, is experienced differently. But when Neptune turns retrograde, this is when you might see things slightly different from a very different angle, because this is when that Tunisian fog begins to dissolve and lift. And you can see, or you will be able to see things from a different light, different perspective. And this could be like a reality check in terms of who you can rely on, who you find supportive, who you find aligned with your values, with your life, with the things that you do in your life, and who perhaps doesn't fit into your reality, who affects your sense of self-worth or self-esteem. So this is these upcoming months, this is when you'll be questioning. When you'll be questioning certain connections, certain friendships in your life overall. Now, here on the 9th, Venus enters Virgo. That's your 4th house. And the Venus in the 4th house is overall fantastic for DIYs, home improvements. Venus in Virgo is very precise, detail-oriented, analytical. For this reason, this is a good time for planning any renovations, or you might be getting some objects of beauty, of value for your home. Now, this is also a good time for hosting gatherings, family gatherings, or some gatherings at your home. This energy tends to positively influence your life. Now, we've got a square, of course, to your ascendant degree. So at times with Venus in Virgo, if we want too much perfectionism, too much precision, and sometimes it might clash with other influences. So it's about being realistic and sometimes allow that imperfection to occur, because otherwise it could create frustration overall. So generally, this energy requires a little bit of flexibility, especially since on July the 13th, Venus will square Uranus, and that's happening between your 4th and your 1st house. Yes, so Uranus is here now establishing itself in your area of the South, and it is going to square Venus. So very often with Venus and Uranus square, especially since square indicate tension and the kind of energy that requires a little bit of more effort, a little bit more energy. So this could indicate some sudden disruptions in your home, family life, maybe some unexpected situations, news, things you have to deal with out of the blue without having much time or energy. Generally here, maybe this could also indicate you might have to change your plans, on the day. Maybe you might have to cancel some personal plans because a situation at home will require your attention, your energy. So keep your schedule light around this time, because this is also around the new moon in Cancer happening on the 14th. The day after this square is exact occurs. Sometimes the square that's exact on a specific day could manifest the day after or before. But also on the 13th, on the same day as this Venus and Uranus square occurs, there is the Sun and Mercury retrograde GEMINI conjunction happening in the sign of Cancer in your second house at 20 degrees. So generally, it's a retrograde GEMINI, which also tells us that this is in connection to something to do with the past. Maybe this is about some major realizations connected to money, financial security, stability. This could be connected to a matter, unresolved matter returning from the past. Maybe a financial situation that needs to be addressed or readdressed, reevaluated. Mars is at this point in your first house, so you are slightly more impatient throughout the month of July, and you want things to happen quickly. So also you might have to be more aware of these urgencies, generally those impatient vibes that you might be experiencing, and you might have to resist it at this time. You might have to resist that temptation to act on impulse, because Mercury is retrograde, so you need some time to review, reassess this situation. Because on the 14th, the day after this GEMINI and Venus and Uranus square, there is a new moon happening at 21 degrees of Cancer. That's on July the 14th. This is a good time for setting intentions connected to your financial security, stability in your life. But at the same time, since Mercury is retrograde and it is conjoined this new moon, this is a good time for dealing with something that has already been initiated in the past. So perhaps this could be connected to some financial project, financial decision you've been contemplating, delaying, that you are now ready to approach, to deal with. For example, it's all about your money and income and security, financial, material. So here, something is being initiated, but there is that connection from the past, or with the past. Now, on the 23rd, Mercury turns direct. So whatever that you set off the ground around the new moon, especially in connection to something that has already been the case or dealt with prior to July, because Mercury turned retrograde on the 29th of June. When Mercury turns direct at 16 degrees of Cancer on July the 23rd, this is a time of a forward momentum. This could be like a wake-up call, things finally making more sense. You might be finally regaining the much-needed clarity that you may have lacked throughout the initial phase of the month, especially in regards to a financial situation, a financial matter you've been dealing with. And at the same time, things that perhaps seemed confusing, connected to your money story, might finally gain their momentum. You might feel like things are moving forward. You might be regaining clarity as well. So whatever was seeded around that new moon is now starting to move forward. All right, so on 26th, Saturn turns retrograde in your 11th house. So where Neptune is now retrograde, you've got Chiron here as well. So the 11th house is connected to your community, to your friendships, to your social circles. Saturn transiting your 11th house could have very often it shrinks our social circle. It's a reality check. It's a time when we often have less friends, but more quality connections, more quality friendships. This is very often the case. Saturn retrograde could also make you review some of your connections, friendships in your life, along with Neptune, at which point you have more clarity and you might be seeing certain connections from a different angle. Overall, this is all about looking at those friendship structures, dynamics in your life, see what's working, see what isn't, see what's sustainable. This is also in connection to your long-term dreams and goals for the future as well, to your community, to your immediate environment. So that's a big theme of the second part of the year for you. On the 26th, the North Node enters Aquarius. Now, Saturn is traditionally associated with career. It's a career planet. So very often with Saturn in a retrograde motion, we also look at our career objectives, our life direction, the structures we have built in our life. All right, so on July the 26th, on the other hand, the North Node enters Aquarius, the South Node enters Leo. So this happens every 18 months when the nodes shift into new signs. This means that your focus will shift into your 9th and the 3rd house. So these are the areas of learning and education, of growth, communication, and wherever the North Node is transiting in our birth chart, this is the area of life where growth is easier achieved. When it is easier to achieve growth, when it is easier to reach certain milestones, possibilities, etc., the South Node, it's a karmic energy, tends to suck the energy out. So what this means is that the South Node will be in your 3rd house, the North Node will be in your 9th house. So here, it's a major 18-month cycle. Every 6 months, there will be eclipses, further influencing the energies of these houses. So it looks like the 9th house, that's Aquarius, of course, for you. Travel, foreign connections, international business affairs. This is definitely here, especially influenced during this transit. There will be more eclipses in Aquarius and in Leo as well. So this could see you perhaps having an opportunity for working for an international organization. This could see you publishing something, a book, for example, if this is what you've been wanting to do. This could see you returning to studies, higher education. This could see you also gaining recognition in careers connected to travel, legal matters, for example. With the North Node transiting the 9th house, there is a greater need for engaging in activities that can help you grow, that are connected to development, self-growth, self-improvement. The South Node will be in the 3rd house, but this time around, the situation is slightly tricky. Not tricky, but slightly different, because you also have Jupiter here. So even though the South Node tends to suck the energies out, and we need to implement more energy in order to achieve those positive outcomes or the desired outcomes we want to achieve and see, Jupiter is here, and that's definitely here, the growth. This could be connected to growth within your connections, within your immediate environment, a greater engagement within your community, for example, within your neighborhood. And generally here, yes, learning, communication is definitely highlighted here as well. So whether that's a greater engagement in some social media stuff, maybe this could be connected to even a Jupiter here generally makes us more confident at some point during the duration of this transit in the 3rd house, more confident in our own intellect, more confident in our skills. This could see you traveling more as well, especially to local environments, short distance travel, cycling, learning languages, working at a local school, engaging in perhaps in some local school communities. If your child is at primary school, maybe you might want to get more involved and engaged, for example, as well. Right, so here, generally with the South Node, it's less about the mundane, more about something bigger and larger, but with the 3rd house activation of a Jupiter as well, so this also indicates that need for generally learning and spontaneity, engaging in activities that are adventurous. All right, so then we've got the Sun and Pluto opposition on July the 27th, and that's again between your 3rd and the 9th house. Watch out for any power dynamics, especially connected to communication, to you maybe expressing your own views, having different views from someone else that you might clash. And it's about not being overly forceful, because sometimes with these sort of energies, our bigger vision is not always well received, especially by people with their own fixed beliefs. But at the same time, this is also a good time for confronting something you've been delaying or avoiding in your life. Now, at the same time, this is also a build up towards a full moon in Aquarius happening at 6 degrees on July the 29th. And at this point, the full moon will also conjoin this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. We also have a beautiful Sun and Jupiter conjunction on the 29th on the same day. So we've got the full moon is conjunct Pluto retrograde and in opposition to Jupiter in Leo. So lots of really, really interesting energies. On the one hand, yes, we've got this energy that is connected to intensity, power struggle. And on the other hand, there is Jupiter and the Sun, which is very abundant and full of growth and opportunities, especially if you have any planets or placements at around 6 degrees of the sign of Leo. Now, the full moon in Aquarius on the 29th at 6 degrees is going to take place in your 9th house. So here, yet again, this energy of worldly achievements, of foreign travel, foreign connections, opportunities for growth, development, for learning new things. This is a time of, this is generally kind of full moon that increases your sense of ambition, that pushes you toward experiencing something larger than the everyday life. For some, this could be about publishing, releasing some of your work, for example, as well, a course or a book. But at the same time, this could be connected to a realization even that maybe it's time for you to move with your life and experience a little bit of adventure. If you feel like things have been overly serious with Saturn and Neptune in Aries in your 11th house, and then this full moon might also bring those realizations. So you might be also more aware of your views, of your life philosophy around this time. There's often a shift of energy. Sometimes we have a need to let go, release of the things we no longer align with. All right, so that's what I've got for you today, Geminis. Thank you so much. I wish you a productive month, and until the next time, bye for now.